Liam Neeson has turned himself into his own subgenre of action films, and anyone who has seen a Liam Neeson action movie knows exactly what I am referring to. The ones where he has to go fight all of the bad guys and show his sick moves, or the ones where he is being framed for something he didn't do and must fight tooth and nail to clear his name and save the day. And I'm not saying that they are bad movies. I have a guilty pleasure whenever watching these movies with Liam Neeson on the screen. This list is going to be 10 movies that I believe fit into the Liam Neeson subgenre action films. There will be no spoilers, so you do not have to worry about the endings being spoiled by watching this video. With that being said, here we go. Number 10. Retribution. 2023. Matt Turner works as a financial advisor with Nanite Capital in Berlin, Germany, with his friend and CEO of the company Anders Muller. Matt lives with his wife Heather and has 2 children named Emily and Zach. One morning, Matt has a busy day ahead of him, but he agrees to take their 2 children to school as Heather has a meeting really early in the morning. While they are driving to school, Matt receives a call from an unknown number that is speaking with a distorted voice and tells Matt that there is a bomb under his seat and it was activated the second Matt sat down. Matt thinks it is just a cruel prank, so he hangs up immediately on the voice, but then they call right back. The voice tells Matt that the bomb is triggered by all of the pressure plates in the car and the radio frequency, so they will know if anyone gets out of the car. Matt tells the voice to at least let his kids get out of the car so they don't get hurt, but the voice tells him that is not happening. Matt is forced to cooperate with the distorted voice on the phone, and the man makes him go around town doing cruel acts and robbing people like he's playing Simon Says. Will Matt and his children make it home that night, and who is doing this to him that would put his children in jeopardy? Number 9. Memory. 2022. Neeson plays Alex Lewis, who is a well-known contract killer living in Mexico who suffers from an early-onset Alzheimer's disease. But he doesn't let that keep him from doing his job. Lewis is an expert assassin with a reputation for discreet precision and getting his job done quickly and efficiently. Caught in a moral dilemma, Alex refuses to complete a job that violates his personal code because he doesn't want to kill children, and he is being ordered to do so by his employer. So now Alex must hunt down and kill the people who hired him for this job, or else he will be the one that is assassinated instead, and the child would be taken out either way, so his main goal is to get the child to safety before anything can happen to the daughter. Normally he would be an expert for the job, but his memory is quickly fading away and he is starting to forget what he was even hired for, and has a tough time blurring the lines between right and wrong. Will Alex get the young girl to safety, or will his memory keep him from doing what is right? Number 8. The Gray. 2011. The Gray is about a group of oil workers in Alaska who are all catching a flight home after a recent job is finished. While on the flight they go through some really bad turbulence, and then the plane crashes into the wilderness. There are some survivors, including John Otway, played by Neeson, and they band together to try and survive the harsh cold conditions and wait for safety to come, or at least hope a rescue team is coming. But they soon find that there is a pack of timber wolves stalking their every move and are looking at the men like their next dinner. They can either stay at the plane crash site and wait and risk getting attacked by the group of dangerous wolves, or head towards some trees in the distance to save themselves by climbing up higher, but will be more difficult to spot by a rescue team. But things don't work out the way they planned, and slowly but surely the wolves try to pick them off one by one. We all know it's going to come down to Liam Neeson versus the alpha of the wolf pack. Who is coming out on top in this heavyweight battle? Number 7. Taken. 2008. I think everyone and their mom has seen Taken and know the gist of the story and how things play out. But you can't have a list about Liam Neeson action movies and not include the Taken trilogy in it. In the opening movie of the franchise, former CIA agent Brian Mills reluctantly agrees to let his 17-year-old daughter Kim go to Paris on a trip with her best friend. His ex-wife Lenore and her new husband Stuart are all for it, and Kim sets off with the friend. On arrival in Paris, however, Kim and her friend are kidnapped by mobsters running a slavery prostitution ring. Brian's only lead is a short snippet of a conversation from when Kim phoned him in a panic, where the man told Brian, "Good luck," whenever Brian said he would find him and kill him. With that, he's able to identify the origin of the speaker and which criminal gang he's with in Europe. Once in Paris, he quickly shows everyone connected with the case that he will stop at nothing to get his daughter back, even if it means taking down the whole organized crime unit in Europe. Number 6. Taken 2. 2012. The next film to follow Taken is Taken 2, and once again stars Liam Neeson as badass ex-CIA agent Brian Mills. In this one, Brian invites his teenage daughter Kim and his ex-wife Lenore, who is now separated from her husband from the first movie, to spend a couple days with him in Istanbul, where he is currently completing a job. When the family reunites in Istanbul, the ghost of the past will resurface for this emotionally drained family. The patriarch of the community of Albanian gang of human trafficking, Murad Krasniqi, seeks revenge for the death of his son from the first movie, Marco, and organizes another gang to kidnap Brian and his family. Brian and Lenore are abducted by the Albanians, but Kim is able to sneak away before they can take her away too. Now Kim is going to have to be the badass that hunts down the Albanians and gets her family back, but Brian is going to help her along the way. Brian is too smart, and he knows to keep a backup phone on him in case anything like this would happen. Brian will be able to call Kim while tied up and guide her to save them and go home. Will Kim be able to follow in her father's footsteps? Number 5. Taken 3. 2014. The final installment in the Taken trilogy follows Brian Mills once again facing trouble that he must maneuver out of. His ex-wife Lenore is murdered pretty quickly in this one, and Brian is framed for the hideous murder that he did not commit. On the run from the police and the obsessive detective Frank Dotzler, Mills is perfectly aware that, to solve the mystery and to find the real culprit, he has to rely only on his expertise, his skills, and above all, his determination to stand a chance. Once more, the wronged father must lay his life on the line to protect his beloved family, against time and an army of vicious Russian mobsters. However, this time, Mills takes no prisoners. Kim doesn't believe that he killed her mother while her stepdad is almost positive it was Brian. Brian must turn to his CIA friends to help and uncover the truth. Can he end this ordeal once and for all? Number 4. Unknown. 2011. Liam Neeson headlines this thriller about a prominent doctor on a business trip to Germany when he awakens from a coma to find that another man has stolen his identity and taken over his life. Dr. Martin Harris has just arrived in Berlin to deliver an important presentation when he realizes that his briefcase has gone missing and leaves his wife, Elizabeth, at their hotel to try and retrieve it. During his cab ride back to the airport, however, a serious car accident lands Dr. Harris in the hospital, where he lies in a coma for 4 days. Upon awakening, Dr. Harris is horrified to discover that every relic of his identity has been completely erased with no trace of how. His shock is soon compounded when, upon seeking out his wife at a lavish fundraiser, another man appears by her side claiming to be the real Dr. Martin Harris, and requests that hotel security protect them from the unstable imposter. Facing total denial from everyone he turns to, Dr. Harris gets a tip from a sympathetic nurse to seek out the assistance of Ernst Jürgen, the former head of the German secret police, who implores him to track down Gina, the illegal immigrant taxi driver who narrowly saved his life earlier in the movie, and she may hold the answers to all of his questions. Now, the closer Dr. Harris gets to solving the mystery, the greater the danger becomes until the astonishing truth is revealed, plunging him into a desperate race against time. Number 3. Honest Thief. 2020. Marines veteran Tom Dolan, played by Liam Neeson, leads a quiet life, stealing over the years $9 million from 12 small bank branches with outdated safes in 7 states, leaving the police and FBI utterly clueless about the in-and-out bandit for 8 whole years. Seeking storage for some of the cash, Dolan meets clerk Annie Wilkins. They fall in almost instant love and he decides to switch to a quiet legal life, buying an apartment, an engagement ring, and wants to settle down with her. To clear his conscience, he calls the FBI with an alias so he can return the loot in exchange for merely 2 years of a light prison sentence, and then he can spend the rest of his days with Annie. Agent John Nivens doesn't believe that Dolan is telling the truth because many people have been calling in and saying they are the in-and-out bandit and have just been looking for publicity. Dolan proves that he is the real in-and-out bandit and has real inside information and holds the keys to millions of dollars in cash. Nivens sees a chance to keep this on the down low and keep the money for himself without ever turning it in. But when his partner doesn't want to do that, Nivens ends up killing his partner. Now Dolan has to be careful who he trusts, and not to just assume everyone in the FBI is on his side. Number 2. Nonstop. 2014. From the moment we first meet Air Marshal Bill Marks, played by Neeson, it's apparent his nerves are frayed. After easily knocking back a stiff drink in the airport parking lot, he enters the crowded terminal to board a plane bound for London. Carefully observing his fellow travelers along the way, Marks eventually ends up seated next to nervous flyer Jen, who begins to breathe easier once she's seated near a window. Later, as the plane hits cruising altitude, Marks receives a mysterious text message stating that a passenger on the flight will be killed every 20 minutes unless $150 million is deposited into a secure bank account. But the harder Marks works to identify a suspect, the deeper he implicates himself in what becomes a deadly hostage crisis unfolding at 30,000 feet over the Atlantic Ocean. When it's revealed that the account for the ransom money is in Mark's name, the FAA revokes his marshal status, and the media paints him as a hijacker in process. As the frightened passengers begin to turn on Marks, he suspects the true culprit may not even be on the plane. And with the help of Jen and perceptive airline hostess Nancy, he attempts to clear his name and protect the passengers by any means possible. Number 1. The Commuter. 2018. The Commuter is pretty much the same movie as Non-Stop, just on a commuter train and not inside an airplane. Michael Macaulay, an Irish-American life insurance salesman and former police officer, is a family man with a wife and teenage son. He goes through the same routine train commute to work and back every day, taking the Hudson Line from Tarrytown to Grand Central Terminal, often interacting with the same fellow commuters. His daily routine is interrupted when he is abruptly laid off from his job after a decade with the same company, leading him to wonder how he will pay his mortgage or afford his son's college tuition. On the train home, Michael meets a mysterious woman named Joanna who offers him a ton of money if he will complete certain tasks for her, and after he agrees to the first one, she ends up blackmailing him and makes him do her dirty work. Will Macaulay make it home to his family that night, or will he end up in debt or in prison? Well, that is it for this one. Any other Neeson movies that could fit inside this list? Would love to watch some more. Thanks for watching.